And welcome, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Today is episode 85 of Lyndhurst Community News. And I hope you're all having a great week. If you have any news, remember to send it in to LyndhurstCommunityNews@gmail.com, whether that's your club, church, school, organization, your team, as well as birthdays and anniversaries of note. So send them on in when you have them. All right, we have some news to get to, but at the end I want to talk about what's being built in the Meadowlands. There's a lot of rumor and misinformation, that's that word again, being passed around. I see a lot of it online. People are hearing different things from different people, and they're not sure. So I want to talk a little bit about what's going on down there, and also to explain to people how the New Jersey Sports and Exposition Authority actually runs the show down there, basically. It used to be the Meadowlands Commission. It started out as the HMDC, but we'll get to all of that right after I get through these little bits of news that I have here now. Okay, so the spring 2025 swim lessons at the community pool will be given on Saturday and Sunday mornings from April 12th through May 25th. Two session times are available on Saturday at 9 a.m. or 9:30 a.m. Sunday's session will run from 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Now, once you choose your session, it can't be changed. The 6-week class costs about $150. Well, not about, it does cost $150. And if you're interested, you can pick up an application at the Parks Department, which is at 250 Cleveland Avenue. You could also download a copy of the form on Lyndhurst's website, lyndhurstnj.org. Now, space is very limited, and registrants are taken on a first-come, first-accepted basis. So registrations will not be accepted at the pool facility nor by mail. You have to go in and do it. So call the Parks Department at 201-804-2482 if you cannot make it within the hours of 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. to register, and they'll help you do that there. Okay, the Lyndhurst Knights of Columbus is hosting a delicious chicken dinner on Saturday, March 29th at 6 p.m. Each dinner contains a half of rotisserie chicken, potatoes, a vegetable, salad, and a dessert for only $18 per person. Our Lady of Mount Carmel Parish Center is where it will be held at 126 Copeland Avenue. And please order online to reserve your dinner. There's a link here. I'm going to leave it in the description box below because no orders will be taken at the door, but all proceeds will be distributed to various charities around town. And if you have any questions, you may call 551-587-8402. So once again, that's the Lyndhurst Knights of Columbus Chicken Dinner on March 29th. The Knights hope to see everybody there. And here's a little sports news that was passed along to me by Coach Paul Passamano. The Lyndhurst girls' 7th grade basketball team has won the NWBP League Championship. So we'd like to congratulate the team as well as Coach Passamano. Good job, girls. All right, and that's really all the news to report this week, which is why I said this would be a good opportunity to address some of the things that are going on in the Meadowlands. The Lincoln School property, by the way. I have information on that as well. So, we're in an election season here in Lyndhurst. And, of course, rumors start to work their way around the rumor mill. Unfortunately, most of what people are told is not necessarily the case. Now, here, I'm going to start with the Meadowlands. Now, yes, the Lyndhurst Meadowlands are located, obviously, in Lyndhurst, but we don't have zoning jurisdiction. Now, let's go all the way back to 1969, when the state of New Jersey legislature created what was then called the Hackensack Meadowlands Development Commission, the HMDC. At that time, it was created as a government agency to oversee the closure of the landfills and then, of course, the eventual remediation of the Meadowlands area. Now, that's not just Lyndhurst. The zone is Rutherford, East Rutherford, Carlstadt, Hackensack, Secaucus are all part, Kearney as well, all come under the jurisdiction. Now, the HMDC was around up until, I believe, in the early 2000s, it became the New Jersey Meadowlands Commission, which was just a change of name. And finally, back in 2015, it was completely absorbed by the New Jersey Sports and Exposition Authority, whose headquarters, whose office is still the building that is adjacent to the Environmental Center, way out there on the foot of Valley Brook Avenue. So let's start off with the people have been noticing that the Quality Inn has been raised. And, of course, people were saying, oh, apartments are going there. Well, I can tell you that apartments are not going there. What is going there is going to be a storage facility, and we see more and more of those storage facilities popping up all over the place. I guess people have a lot of stuff, and they don't know what to do with it, so they pay to store it. Now, there will be no more apartments that are going to be in the Meadowlands, according to the Sports and Exposition Authority. What you're seeing all the way out there, those enormous buildings, those are not factories. That was another rumor going around. They are going to be distribution warehouses, which is wonderful for the township because they won't take any services from us. No children to come into the schools, no garbage pickup, no nothing, just basically warehouses. And we get the benefit of the tax dollars for that. We don't get it all, but, we get a portion of it. So no factories, no apartments. Now, the other thing that's been talked about is the Copper Ridge building. There's been rumors that Tunnels to Towers was buying it. That is not true. What it is going to be, it's being turned into an extended stay, but it's high-end extended stay for like area executives or traveling doctors. That is what the Copper Ridge building will be. So that nothing to worry about there. No more apartments. The only problem with is if, as I mentioned many a time on this show, we have, all right, so we're in an election right now. You've got 11 people running. And I can tell you that all 11 people are against overdevelopment. Nobody. We all live here. Every time I drive down, back and forth on Ridge Road and see that new building across from Angelo's on the old Savino property, I say to myself, that doesn't look like Lyndhurst to me. It's big, it's massive, and yet you can't say no to these builders when they want to build apartments. All you can do is work with them and try to get them to shrink down the size. So believe it or not, what we're seeing there is the result of the town negotiating with the builder originally to lessen the number of units. Because as I always say, the problem we have here is that, the Meadowlands, we don't have zoning jurisdiction. So the Sports and Exposition Authority decides what can get built out there. But B, we are limited here in the town proper. I say the town proper because that excludes the Meadowlands. This is where everyone basically lives, with the exception of the apartments that are down there now. But we don't have any real authority when it comes to that, because if a builder wants to come in, and right now apartments are what is hot. And we'd all like to see certain things being built, but then what developer is going to build it? The developers are out to make money. Now, that's good. That could be good, could be bad, depends upon the developer. They want to make money building apartments because that's where the money is right now. It's not in commercial real estate anymore. I don't know when that'll come back, but so they come in with an application. As I say, they make an application to the construction department of Lyndhurst. They meet with the construction official to go over the plans. And generally speaking, the town will say, well, can you, instead of 30 units, can you get down to maybe 20 units? And they usually do. The problem there then is that if the town were to absolutely say no, and believe me, the town would love to say no to all apartments. Nobody wants apartments. But then you risk a builder's remedy lawsuit. And as I say, and I've said it many times on this broadcast, that the state affordable housing laws are what stand in our way. According to the state, Lyndhurst is short 366 units for affordable housing. That's not just units, that's affordable units, which means that the number of units that you would build, market units, would be far, far higher than that to wind up with 366 affordable units. And if you say no to these builders, and this has already happened, it happened with the Vivo property on Valley Brook Avenue, they were voted down, they were told no. The builder then appealed to the county on what is called builder's remedy. Now, the town, I believe, settled that. The settlement has not been made public, or I would share that with you the moment I find out about it. When it is public, I will be more than happy to share it with you. So what happens is if the builder gets, the judge rules in favor of the builder, which happens 99.9% of the time, because the judge is going to look at our state requirement of 366 units, and he will then award builder's remedy. That allows the developer to go ahead and build whatever they want, because once builder's remedy has been awarded, they can then bypass our zoning laws, and that would be absolutely devastating for this township. Can you imagine apartments going up everywhere? So it's a dance and a game that the town has to be very careful with and has to work with these developers. We can't just say no. And believe me, nobody wants this. It doesn't look like the Lyndhurst we know and love. Obviously, we want development. You want new money coming into your town all the time. But you don't want massive apartment buildings popping up all over the place. So that's been the issue here. Now, moving on to the Lincoln School property, there are, again, some rumors and things going on about that. So last year, the township formed a redevelopment agency, a separate agency to explore every possible idea of what the people of this township would like to see on that property. And former Mayor Lou Stellato serves as the chairman. And last year, he went around to every organization in town, every church, every senior group, everywhere he can go with a group of people. And he wanted to hear people's thoughts. What would we like to see? Well, nobody wants to see apartments. As a matter of fact, apartments, contrary to what people have been told, apartments have never, ever, ever been put on the table or discussed with regard to Lincoln School. Never. Now, the benefit for the township is that we own that property, but we're not developers. So if you want to get a developer to come in and sell him the property and decide upon what he's going to do, he's going to obviously want to build that which makes him the most money. And what is that? Well, that's generally apartments. But unless you have like a certain chain, like a 7-Eleven, which would never go there either, that property's too big and that would be horrible. But we want something there that's going to help and impact everybody and work for everybody in the township, something that will be of use. Now, I've heard people say about senior housing and veterans housing and housing for the development disabled, which, of course, is a phenomenal idea. But I don't think there's any money in that. You can't get a developer to build one unless you get, like, federal subsidies and things, and those things could take a long, long period of time. And as it is, Lincoln School's been sitting up there closed. So last week, the redevelopment agency submitted its report to the mayor and commissioners. And after all of their meetings, they have determined, or their recommendation, because the town still has to decide what they want to do, their recommendation is for a medical facility, a big medical facility. Now, this is the kind where you could do same-day surgery, you could have an MRI or a CAT scan. So this would be something that, again, would bring in an awful lot of tax rateables, because medical facilities are popping up everywhere. It's probably the biggest fastest growing industry is healthcare. More money is spent on healthcare than anything. So that was what the development agency put forth to the mayor and commissioners. So no apartments proposed for Lincoln School because nobody wants them. And again, there's not much you could do. You see, the problem with so much of the stores in Lyndhurst is that, number one, Lyndhurst does not have a central area, merchants area, business district like Rutherford. Rutherford has Park Avenue. Lyndhurst has Stuyvesant Avenue, but it's really got businesses scattered all around the town. And the reason that is the case, because if we go back 130 years when the town was being built up, well, there were no cars. So you had neighborhood supermarkets, little grocery stores. They weren't supermarkets in those days. You had shoe shiners. You had electricians. You had television and radio stores. And so you had all these little businesses that just don't exist anymore. And these buildings were built at a time where there were barely any cars. So there was no place to park. So we have a very, very old inventory of buildings that currently have predominantly, as you see, pizza parlors, nail salons, haircutters, vape shops is another thing that comes in, tattoo places, although they call it body art, they don't call it tattoo, and Chinese restaurants, because that's basically all you can get. There are health and wellness stores that have popped up, and that's a good thing too. But I understand the frustration that everybody has in seeing these types of businesses being the only types of businesses. But the town, what are we supposed to do? You want to make it as business-friendly as possible to be attractive to small businesses, which is why we always say on the show, support your local merchants. We do have many great merchants in the town. But that's the issue. So I don't know when that time's going to come, but there has to be, because commercial real estate isn't the thing anymore. Because commercial real estate, ever since COVID, now office space is people downsized. So there's no need for all this extra office space or storage place. So what we're dealing with now is just an old and aged infrastructure of commercial buildings, which maybe one day a developer or an investor would come in, buy them, knock them down, and build something new to incorporate parking and just to modernize and bring in modern stores and modern buildings. And, of course, new buildings mean lots of more tax ratables. So that's the situation that we're facing, folks. And that's the updates I have for you. Now, I've always told you that I'd give you an update about the Lyndhurst Diner property, and there is still no word from the current owners. They have not even had a conversation with the town, so we don't know what they're thinking of putting there. We're just praying that they don't come forward with a whole bunch of apartments, because then we're going to wind up with apartments. Oh, we can probably negotiate with them down to minimize it, but can you imagine that intersection if you add 100 apartments or something there? Because that's a whole acre. That when you combine the Lyndhurst Diner with the old Churchill's carpeting next door and the house behind it, all three were sold as one parcel. So it's a very big piece. And we're very sorry to see the Lyndhurst Diner, such a legendary landmark, and that sign. We're very sorry to see that go. But that's where we're at. This is a very tenuous situation. And I know if, in the next month and a half until the election, there's going to be all sorts of buttons being pushed. And I just, try to find out what's really going on and report it here. Because, it's like playing the game of telephone. You tell a person's story, that person will repeat it a little differently, and then and so on and so forth. So finally, when the last person hears it, it bears no resemblance to the original story. So, anyway, that is what's going on in the Meadows, and that's the story so far for the Lincoln School property. Now, next week, I want to talk about understanding your tax bill, because your tax bill is the school board, the township, the county, and the library, by the way. That's statutory. I want to go over that with you next week. And again, if I have any other information on anything, I will always share it with you here. So if I don't share something, it's because I haven't heard anything yet. All right, and don't forget, too, folks, in this nice small community of ours, we have volunteer fire department, volunteer first aid. Support them to the best that you can, because they put their lives on the line to help save other people's lives, homes, families, and pets. And we have a wonderful community here. Let's keep it that way. And let's try to make sure that this election season is one of ideas, that no one's throwing mud around. I think that's the part that turns everybody off and makes people get disgusted with politics. But we've got some very good people running, so let's see what the ideas are, and let's give everybody a chance to give their views and offer what they have. So until next week, this is Brian Haggerty, and I will see you then. And have a great week. God bless you. God bless this township. Remember, get to know your neighbors, support your local businesses. That's what keeps a community strong. Take care, folks.